Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Federal Postal Judge David Wynn Miller. I punctuate my name because it makes me into a fact. We have made this 3-hour presentation as a housekeeping video to show what the Federal Postal Court is all about, the clerk of the court, and the claimant, and how much work goes into putting together a lawsuit to be filed at the Bureau of Conveyance here in the Hawaiian Islands. We are the only country, we are the only state of the 50 states that uses a Bureau of Conveyance. On the mainland, you will be using just the clerk of the courts filing your documents, so the Bureau of Conveyance issues will not be an issue at this point. The rest of this document is going to be about our postal, banking, and grammar, and why we, as federal postal judges, have jurisdiction, and how this came about, and the history of the Hawaiian Islands, as well as the history of how the federal postal judgeships and federal postal court came about, so that the people of the world know that the Federal Postal Court is not an affiliation with the United States of America, the United States of America Corporation, or any other country. We are an organization that deals with the Unity States of our World Corporation, is our official title. And what that means is we are not a citizen of a country. We are two judges, Russell J. Gould and David Wynn Miller, that are changing or correcting the grammar into a mathematical interface to show the people the tricks and the traps and the secrets of the courts, and how documentations must be created, how constitutions have to be written, how trusts have to be written, to have a better understanding or a better claim on the contracts that you write. Thank you. I am Federal Postal Judge David Wynn Miller. Beside me, I have Federal Postal Judge Russell J. Gould. We use punctuation in our names because it makes us a fact, not an adjective pronoun fiction. You can go to the dwmlc.com website and also see 400 pages of technical information that backs this technology over the past 14 years. We are making this video for the public because this is a federal postal court. The Federal Postal Court was established on 12/21/2012.
For I concur.
Now, we went back to give you a little history. We were both federal judges, and we had been corresponding with the United States District Court and with the United States Department of Justice, the Securities and Exchange Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the United States Tort Division in Washington, and with the Senate Oversight Committee. As a result of those actions, we had filed a claim at the United States Department of Federal Claims. And as a result of that, we got a letter back as an invitation to come to Washington, D.C. Well, that invitation was actually a coded letter that said if you come to Washington, D.C., you will be arrested. On the back of that Washington, D.C. letter was a stamp by an original July 4th, 1775 seal of the Federal Postal Court. So we started doing some research. And the research took us to the England Oversight Committee, which then made Benjamin Franklin in 1772 the first federal postmaster of both Canada and the United States. That's before the United States was created. 3 years later, On July 4th, 1775, Benjamin Franklin opened the Federal Postal Court, at which time the Revolutionary War kicked off, and war vacates contracts, so the Federal Postal Court closed. As a result of the chain of events that took place next, the United States had to borrow money, 1.6 million francs from the French in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which was the capital of America at this point in history. They went ahead and the war took place from...
He has a way of making the most insane things sound so dry. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Today we are taking a look at a sovereign citizen documentary from Australia, from an Australian cooker. It's called What the Fuck? F-U-Q. Frequently unanswered questions is what that stands for. He is obsessed with his car and is mad that there's red tape involved in importing it. So he's decided that the government isn't real. I showed this trailer yesterday, but in case you missed it, here is the trailer for it, and this is what we're going to watch today. Feistiest Bard, thanks for a 225 stream streak. Messages are not showing? Let me see. Why not? Sorry, I'm working on it, guys. Why? Work, though. Work, though. Let me try and re-put in... Oh, there it is. Okay, it signed me out on the thing. That's why. Oh, nope, 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 nope. Hold on, let me take that off the screen. I'm gonna put you on the bingo card for 1 second while I sign back in on that. I'm so sorry. I somehow got disconnected. There we go. Someone send messages. Let's see if that worked. Send, type. I'll type it. Still no, huh? Dang it. Let me try again. Let me turn it off and turn it on again. Now try, maybe? There we go. Just had to turn it off and on again. Of course. Let me make sure that the YouTube one is good. Okay. Sorry about that. So, back to it. Here's the trailer for What the Fuck? Oh, Twitch isn't showing up? I'll work on it while you're watching this.
Scott was an ordinary bloke whose ambition took him abroad for 12 years. He captained luxury mega yachts and fell in love with a fully restored classic 59 Corvette. Scott wanted to do what any smitten fella would, take her home to Perth, Australia. Little did Scott know what lay ahead. These roadblocks were tame in comparison to the shocking reality he would ultimately face.
One of them is defined back through the Constitution, is valid. The other one is an imposter.
What could make importing such a beautiful car seem insignificant? Perhaps the greatest con in Australian history.
It was just smacking of fraud from top to bottom.
It began with copyrighted and trademarked national symbols and developed into corporatized government, an unjust court system, and pretend laws.
I wanted someone to really swear the truth that that is what's going on.
Government was questioned. Why is the Commonwealth registered as a corporation? Who are the shareholders? Why is that Commonwealth registered in Washington, D.C.?
Are you really government?
Why is the kangaroo and emu trademarked?
Can you prove it?
Are taxes going overseas? Are you a public servant? They responded with,
Let's roll! 99, 99, 99 to 1. We awake this town, let's march to the drum. 99, 99, 99 to 1. We just getting started, we ain't done. 99, 99, 99 to 1. Your time's up or we'll be done. 99, 99, 99 to 1. We awake this town, let's march to the drum. 99% rules the 1%, not the other way around. I'm here to circumvent against all the tyranny, stripped of our dignity. I'm here to reclaim our liberty and let it ring throughout the world, let it resonate. Brothers and sisters!
2 years in jail for personating a Commonwealth officer.
All right, I got the Twitch chat working, so let's jump into it. But first, I got to do my little calls to action before we get started. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button. I'd appreciate it. If you can, hype the video. If you want to help support the stream, you can always become a member on YouTube or become a subscriber on Twitch. We are doing our Patreon and YouTube member-only show after this today. We're just going to hang out, watch all sorts of fun stuff together. It's going to be pretty chill. This morning, I did garage sailing with Baja, so we walked around in really hot weather for hours, so I'm looking forward to just chilling with you guys. Got really good stuff at the garage sales, though. Maybe I'll tell you guys about it more in the patron and member stream. Anyway, you guys know all that stuff. Let's jump into it. Oh, sorry, I think I did miss one thing, a couple things in chat. Feistiest Bard, thanks for a 225 stream streak. Unstable Deadbeat, thanks for a 10 stream streak, says Sov-Cit Saturday, my favorite day of the week. More because of the Saturday thing than Sov-Cit's, but still, I'll take it. Lady Ann with a 5 stream streak says, I saw a QAnon collector's coin and those stupid gold Donnie dollars in the wild today at the flea market. I might have bought one just for the... I like souvenirs of stupid, crazy bullshit. I don't know. Sweet Lily Love, thanks for a 195 stream streak, says it's always a good time when Hannah shows up. Carbcosian with a 15 stream streak says I had coffee with the local lesbian group today. I also bought a bike for the end of the world. Hope everyone's doing okay. Bike's a good idea. True. Did I find any DVDs today? There were DVDs, but nothing I didn't have or wanted the DVD of. It was all pretty standard stuff, nothing rare or anything. What's an Aussie cooker? Conspiracy theorist. It's what they call conspiracy theorists. Ken Sister Sue, thanks for 110 stream streak, says 110 streams of the wonderful Hannah. Love you in a parasocial way. Thanks. Back at ya. Baja got some puzzles. Very cool. Got a big luggage. Got a big suitcase for $5. It was a really good deal. I didn't have a big suitcase in case I ever needed to travel. It's like one of those wheelie ones, so pretty good. Anyway, oh, solar panel. I did want to show you guys this. So they were selling this solar panel, and then they only sold it for $6. It's supposedly it works. I guess I haven't tested it. Maybe they ripped me off, but it's only $6. It's pretty good, I think. Anyway. In case I need to charge my phone in the apocalypse. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into it. After this one, Dodger Mutt, thanks for a 7 stream streak, says, can't tell what's more childish, Sov-Cits or objectivist libertarians. Oh, nice, Lady Ann. That's cool. All right, here's the documentary. Oh, boy.
Tough day, rough night, I'm home and hammered. Too shade, too tried, too right, I stammered. Last place, slow pace and mild mannered. It's okay, alright when I get in my bed. It's okay, it's alright when I get in my bed. Late dates, don't leave a lipstick collar. Mates rates on saving me $1. If crooks were books, then I'm a scholar. It's okay, alright when I get in my bed. It's okay, it's alright when I get in my bed.
In Australia, we expect our government to serve we the people. We expect our courts to provide lawful remedy when our rights and interests are under attack. We expect our constitution to be the rule book for our government.
Wow, he's really just doing folksy, it's just like folksy American patriotism, but for Australia. It's interesting.
What if these foundations have been hijacked? Australia.
Like, is this just the Australian version of, like, apple pie and pickup trucks?
We are young. Our home offers diversity in land, culture, and the outdoor lifestyle. From beautiful
Felix.
beaches to packed sports stadiums to backyard barbecues. Our history may be short, but it is rich with rapid development and international recognition. Our freedom and lifestyle is what we pride the most. We are laid back and easygoing. We have been stereotyped over the decades with values that include humility, tolerance, simplicity, and a dry sense of humour.
I've never heard any of those stereotypes about Australians, but I guess I don't think about Australia that much, so fair enough. When I think Australia, I think kangaroos, koalas, Steve Irwin, Kangaroo Jack, Sydney Opera House, Finding Nemo, Desi Freeman. End of list. Those in order, those are the thoughts that go through my head when I think Australia. MSKTB89 with 61 months says, our history may be short on the landmass that's been populated for 30,000 years. Well, that's not their history. Game, you know, I'm not going to get into a whole thing. Ash, thanks for 43 months. Much appreciated.
We celebrate life and feel fortunate to live in one of the luckiest countries on earth. On a few occasions in our history, we were called on to defend our nation and our freedoms. No fuss, we never balked from our duties.
I don't know Australian history. When has Australia been attacked? Did they have a war with New Zealand? Or like... I don't know what they're talking about. I'm sorry. I'm very American. What did Australia do in World War II? Would they... But like, were Japan was trying in World War II? I guess with proximity, that makes sense. But like, damn, I never thought about that. Also Undying, thanks for 100 bits, says, go hype train emus. Anyway, hype train, cool.
Today, as the world changes at a rapid rate, our political leaders seem to be
I don't know what happened in the emu war.
losing popularity and credibility. Laws are slowly eroding our freedoms, while the will of the people is being ignored. This is a story affecting every Australian.
Look up the Kokoda track campaign. We'll do in another tab while this plays.
During what seemed a simple task, importing the car from America to Australia, we'll see how the refusal of import approval by the Australian Department of Transport led to uncovering shocking truths about our so-called customs.
Sir, basically you got mad you had to pay to import your vehicle, and now you decided the government isn't real. Could you be a bigger asshole? Like, it's okay to be like, kind of annoying that this is a thing, but you can afford to import a car. You have nothing to complain about. I cannot handle rich people fake problems.
Scott Bartle bought a 1959 Chevrolet Corvette in Chicago. This classic was converted to right-hand drive, ready for Australian roads. It had been fully restored, maintaining the original 1959 look. It was fitted with a modern engine, suspension, brakes, and air conditioning. The air conditioning
Okay, I am reading about this Kokoda thing. That's interesting. I'll read up more later, but I didn't know about that. Wow. Huh. Anyway.
would later prove to be a tipping point for Scott.
It's a classic car. You think it's more expensive to import? I would hope so. It's a luxury good. I think rich people's classic cars should probably be taxed.
First, Scott believed he had to get import approval from the Department of Transport.
Oh my god, it's like this is his 9/11. They asked him to pay a tax.
Scott was refused import approval twice before escalating the matter to the Administrative Appeals Tribunal.
Okay, at least it was denied at first. Does it get approved and then you're mad about the fee, though? Because that's what the trailer implied. Dilla says the emu more is why we have probes designed to deploy cryogenically suspended emu in case aliens get any ideas. Caesar Bishop, thanks for 10 months, says, Booyakasha. I don't know what that means.
The Department of Transport attempted to subvert their own guidelines. Expressed graphically, it was obvious the Department of Transport were attempting to change the rules.
Sir, I very much doubt they were trying to change the rules to fuck you over. The more likely answer, and what usually happens with sovereign citizen types, is they misunderstand a rule, and then anytime someone tries to explain it to them, they refuse to listen, and they just act like everyone's being corrupt for not accepting their incorrect interpretation of the law or rules.
The Department of Transport were caught out. They pulled their own guidelines they had relied on to deny import approval.
Here are the import approval guidelines for your car. Great, but you can't use them. Why can't I use them? They are not law. So why did you publish them? We make the rules around here. So what about the guidelines? Get stuffed.
I'm gonna guess that that's not an accurate portrayal of the conversation, because that doesn't make any sense. Nemesaur, thanks for gifting 10 tier 1 subs. I love when delusional people make media and you get to see the world from their deranged perspective, like how they warp situations in their mind. Tommy Wiseau is like this too. That's what makes The Room so good.
Not surprisingly, Scott beat the
And Breen, of course.
Department of Transport conventionally in the Administrative Appeals Tribunal. This news made page 3 of the Australian Financial Review. Now with import approval, it turned ugly. Demand was made to apply for a pre-charged equipment license, essentially a license to import the air conditioner.
I'm looking at this logic going, I've got import approval for a car, and now I need import approval for an air conditioner within the car?
I understand that it might not necessarily make sense to you, but this is probably the end result of our complex, not even of how complex legal systems and import laws tend to be. They end up making certain definitions for certain things, and then in the end, maybe it ends up applying in ways they didn't necessarily expect, but nonetheless, it is the legislation, and they need to follow through with it, because that's what it is. If you have a problem with that, you could take that up, you could talk to your parliament, your representatives, and try and get that changed so it's not double charging you whatever. But regardless if you feel that this is like wrong in the moment, it's still the law, so you should probably just like do it or decide not to import the car. It's not that difficult. This isn't a need for you. This isn't like, oh, my baby needs medicine and they're charging me double import. This is a luxury vehicle. This is a classic car. I do not feel bad for you that you're being charged twice for import on your boutique luxury vehicle. Oh my god.
Next thing you know, I'll need an import approval for the clock, for the radio. What else?
With demand to apply for a license to import an air conditioner in a car that was already approved for import, Scott became suspicious, to say the least.
What's this money going to do to the gas that's in the air conditioner? Is it by waving some green stuff, some money over the top of it, is it going to make this gas green? Is it going to
What the fuck is he talking about?
disappear? Where's this gas going to go? Is it going to get taken out at one end and put in at the other end? What happens to this gas? And basically it's
What the fuck is he talking about?
it's all about money, isn't it?
Yes! Yes? You're doing international commerce and trying to import a vehicle. Yes, it's about money? What are you talking about?
Pushed over the edge, Scott began to realize he could either submit and comply or challenge those demanding money from him just because they said so.
Yeah, yep, that's the law. I'm sorry you're upset at the law. If you'd like to do that, work to change the law. You can't just be like, I don't like this law, so everyone's corrupt. Phoenix Leftist, thanks for a 225 stream streak. Minute left on the hype train.
Well, I think to put
The
it in
Corvette does look nice, though. I agree. I'm not a big car person, but that is a nice-looking classic car.
the context of things that we're familiar with, say for
At least a little part of me, I think, has to like cars like that because I'm from Michigan. So, like, American cars from the 20th century, I don't know. Just kind of dig the look, man.
For example, the pizza delivery guy comes along and delivers you the pizza, and he said, look, there's $12.95 for the pizza and I want $50 for delivery. You'd look at him and go, what's this $50 for? You're not afraid to challenge him as to what this charge is all about, and you're not going to pay him just because he said so.
Okay, the pizza guy isn't the government. The pizza guy's not the government, so those are different things. It's always weird when sovereign citizens compare it to some sort of private business, because they're entirely different animals. It's not the same thing at all.
We're not afraid to challenge the pizza delivery kid or a telephone company
Thanks for the hype train.
overcharging us. But what about the government?
Are you really government?
Of course we are. Are you crazy?
Can you prove it?
Is this a new emote? Can you prove you're the government? Shocked.
Government?
Of course we are. Are you crazy?
Can you prove it?
Hold on, I'm gonna snip this so I can maybe turn it into an emote later. There we go. Okay. Shocked civil servant face.
Now the same thing applies with
Like, the question itself is hilarious. Are you the government? Yes. Prove it. We're in a government building. Like, what? You want me to take you to the Capitol and be like, look, these are my bosses? Like, what's the, what specific kind of evidence are you looking for here other than the evident one that everyone can see that, like, oh, these people are in power, they make decisions, they're part of, like, an administration that does things. Everything is solipsism. God, I hope so.
when we're dealing with government is we get on the phone or we write them a notice and say, oh,
I do play Power Wash Simulator 2. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, though, so I probably won't get that DLC. I liked the SpongeBob one for the first Power Wash Simulator. They did a Star Trek one. Be all over that.
what's this charge all about? And show me the evidence that it's lawful because I'm not going to pay you just because you said so.
After 9 months of frustration with government agencies, Scott started to notice inconsistencies that would ordinarily seem trivial to most of us.
So you started seeing patterns where there were none. What is that called? I'm blanking on again.
And I'm starting
I'll look it up.
to see little things like copyright symbols on some of these
Apophenia?
websites,
No.
these government websites, and I'm going, nah, what's all this copyright bit about? Who owns that copyright? What's going on here?
Apophenia.
9 times out of 10, this copyright symbol was next to the Commonwealth of Australia, and I'm going, well,
Did I miss when Nemesaur dropped those subs? I don't think I did, but I got a text saying I did. If I did, I am so sorry, Nemesaur. Thank you for the 10 gift subs. I'm sorry if I didn't say that.
thought I was...
No, pareidolia where you see, like, shapes and stuff, or faces. Apophenia's patterns that aren't necessarily visual. Could be, but I didn't miss it. Okay, I thought I did for some reason. Someone thought I did, but cool.
Part of the Commonwealth of Australia being we the people. I started digging a little bit deeper, and next thing you know, I've come across this company called the Commonwealth of Australia that's registered with the Securities Exchange Commission in Washington.
Why is our Commonwealth registered in Washington, D.C.? And why is our emblem registered as a trademark with the United States Patent and Trademark Office?
Probably in case they're using it in any way in the United States, so other people can't use it for commercial purposes.
But what about the original emblem on our Constitution?
I don't know.
On our...
Looks more English to me. Like, I know that they were a colony of Great Britain, but I don't know. I imagine they changed it at some point to make it more Australia-centric and less focused on, like, English iconography. Because, like, the lion and the unicorn are like, an English thing. The lion is for sure. I think I've seen the unicorn used as well in tapestries and stuff in English, coats of arms, etc.
buildings.
Probably trademarked in lots of countries, yeah. You could probably see the same for things the United States has as emblems and logos in other countries.
And our courts.
Unicorn is Scotland. Okay, sorry, UK then. UK, not Britain specifically.
So I'm presented with essentially this idea that there might be 2 Commonwealths. The Commonwealth being the colony, comprising of we the people, and I've got this other Commonwealth which is looking like a corporation.
Is he pretending he came up with this? Is he pretending that he came up with this sovereign citizen dual government, one's a corporation, one's the real republic thing? Sir, we both know you didn't come up with this. You got this from other people online. This was already a thing in America long before you believed it. You're just pretending you invented this and this is like an original idea from you? That's hilarious. So he's not only crazy, he's like a plagiarist, which is so much worse. I can stand a lot of things. I really can. Not plagiarism. Herbert West and... Hold on. Can we get Herbert West saying plagiarist? No. That's a shame. He says plagiarist and cuts a guy's head off.
Registered in Washington with shareholders, an annual report that's available, a prospectus, and all those typical things that come with a company. I'm wondering if our taxes are going to shareholders or we the people.
Who do you think the shareholders are in the government?
And I want to make sure that I'm paying my monies to the right people.
I definitely don't just want to not pay the import fee.
Not only are there 2 commonwealths, Scott discovered there were two governments.
Government in the Constitution is called the Government of the Commonwealth, and we've got this one that turns up in our letterbox called the Australian Government.
I'm so confused. Sometimes they call it America, and sometimes they call it the United States. I'm so confused. There must be two governments.
Now, either someone's changed the Constitution without us knowing about it, i.e. slipped in a referendum that we missed, or one of them's wrong.
Or you're misunderstanding this and think that it needs to be much stricter than need be. You can have a country and have some sort of official title for it and have colloquial titles for it as well.
Because they can't be both. If you don't have the evidence that this entity has changed and became this entity, without the evidence of a name change, i.e. this change over, you have two entities.
Why don't you just pay them?
Pay who?
Government.
Which government?
You know. Government.
Did you know there's two of them?
Bugger.
Another example is the
I'm so glad he used some terrible, like, CGI program to make those little bits. That's the best choice he could have gotten. He couldn't even get people to reenact it with him. Aw.
Parliament of the Commonwealth. That's what it's called within the Constitution. It's specifically defined as the Parliament of the Commonwealth. And yet you go online and you see the Parliament of
This was released in 2012.
Australia. Two different names, both parliaments, in theory. Where's the evidence that the Parliament of the Commonwealth changed and became the Parliament of Australia? Without any evidence that that one became...
Can I ask why you think what they call it is so important? A rose by any other name and all that? What does it matter to you what the government institution calls itself when it is in fact still the same institution by lineage? Like, it is still the same continuity of government. It's still the same government, even if they're calling it something different. Like, that's just a thing?
Something different. There must be two. And the minute you've found or determined that there's two entities, one of them is defined back through the Constitution, is valid, the other one is an imposter, and you can tell that one to go away. Or you can treat it entirely differently.
Hey, Mr. Duck Sauce.
In support of challenging the validity of laws, Scott came across a quote from a former Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia.
A pretended law made in excess
Nice, Mr. Duck Sauce. Thanks for going to the protest.
of power is not and never has been a law at all.
It's actually funny. I saw protest gear for sale at one of the garage sales I went to today. Like goggles that are made to block, like, you know, pepper spray and stuff. There was like a mask with it. It was a whole set. It was great. Oh, and gloves, you know, those gloves that have like they're not brass knuckles, but you know, they're like, they got the padding on them. It was all together. I was like, ooh, environmental storytelling.
Anybody in the country is entitled to disregard it.
Did the Chief Justice provide us with the means to challenge the validity of law in Australia?
Now, for me...
No Blu-rays. DVDs, no Blu-rays. I didn't get any of the DVDs because I had all the stuff. No, there were some DVDs.
Said a couple of things.
There was a 3D Blu-ray player for $25, but I don't have a 3D TV and never intend on having a 3D TV, so...
Said, one, that there are pretend laws in the country. Two, that it's our job to challenge them. And three, that it's the originator's duty to demonstrate that they're legitimate.
The stings really help with the atmosphere. Speaking of environmental storytelling, have you heard the Bethesda news? I have. I'm mixed about it. On the one hand, I feel terrible for everyone being laid off, for everyone being fired. The game industry is a dumpster fire, and it has been for years, and it seems like everything is imploding. So I feel bad for everyone who is currently out of work because of mismanagement in the gaming industry that has been going on so long. But they are giving Obsidian a Fallout game. The same people that did, I don't know how many of the people are still on the team at Obsidian, but the same people that did New Vegas are being handed the Fallout IP. So, if you're into New Vegas, which I am, that's exciting, but I don't know. I kind of have no expectations for Bethesda games moving forward, or Fallout games. I'm just going to hope they're good, but I'm not going to look forward to them. I'm just going to play them if I hear good things.
What if they can't? What if today's politicians and
Also, the original 2 Fallout games? What do you mean? I know they're also remastering New Vegas and 3.
public servants can't validate an act? Are we looking at a pretend law?
The New Vegas people are the original writers of 1 and 2. Oh, understood. Yes.
We're not quite sure whether we're dealing with 2 commonwealths, and we've got the
We're not. And I'm pretty sure you were told that. I guarantee you were told that by people you tried to bring this to, and you just ignored them. Why?
possibility that some of these acts that are being imposed upon us are not real. They're pretend laws.
So you are the Department of Sustainability, Environment, Water, Population and Communities.
Yes, you have to apply for a license to import the air conditioner in your car.
Can you prove that?
No.
What do you mean, can he prove it? Presumably there's paperwork. Presumably he could probably be like, yes, here's the thing.
Just pay me.
I think I'll call you the Department of Unlawful Air Conditioning.
Scott challenged the department to demonstrate they were a de jure government and whether they had any lawful...
What's a remaster in a video game? Like, I know their masters are on audio medium. I kind of get in a video, but video games, it depends. Sometimes there's remakes where they completely remake the game from ground up, and then there are remasters where they'll go into the game and, like, make the visuals improved, air quotes improved. A lot of the time they kind of ruin the art style and kind of the atmosphere by tweaking lighting and stuff that was intentional at the time. But the idea is they go in and they make the graphics look better and the animations look better, make things a little more up to date in terms of like quality of life gaming stuff.
acts to rely upon, namely one that would require a license to import.
Yeah, like they did the Oblivion Remastered, which is basically the original game with a layer of Unreal Engine on top, I think.
Conditioner.
So I've written a notice off to the Department of Unlawful Air Conditioning and said, well, you demonstrate that you work for this Commonwealth.
Would you guys be surprised to find out I was really into Go Animate when that was a thing? Maybe it still is. When I was younger and Go Animate was a thing.
For the legitimate one. And I'd also like you to demonstrate that your acts are valid. And in the absence of that, well, I'm not paying. Because I want to make sure that my money is going to the right Commonwealth. I don't want to be defrauding the people of the Commonwealth, the people, my neighbours, and instead be sending funds through the corporation over to shareholders in the States. Not going to have a part of that.
Faced with the prospect of challenging government, Scott ran the risk of being singled out amongst his peers for cheating government.
You're cheating government.
Are my taxes really going to Australians?
Of course they are.
What if they go to the Commonwealth registered in Washington, D.C.?
What?
There's no way! I can't even tell if he really believes this. Like, is it just a scam? And he's using this car story, like, as a cover, and he doesn't really give a shit, but he wants people to, like, give him money or buy into a program. I don't know if he, like, pitches at the end or something. Does he really believe this? I know there are so many sovereign citizens that believe this, but his story is so stupid, it almost feels like he has to be, like, leaning into it.
Washington. Good point.
is
Like,
pay-
usually they'll give longer explanations. His appear to be, based on what he has stated, are just, I'm confused about the name thing, so I've decided the government isn't real. Like, that's sudden by sovereign citizen standards, even.
paying Washington cheating fellow Australians?
Yes.
Paying taxes to the Commonwealth of Australia, registered in Washington, D.C., appears to be cheating we the people here in Australia.
You have no evidence of that. You're just saying it. You have no evidence of that at all.
So, who is cheating who?
So what do we have here? Two commonwealths? Two governments? Two parliaments?
Now,
Two names. Same thing.
if we put this in the proper context, if I'm paying those taxes to a corporation and its funds trace back up through to Washington to shareholders, who am I defrauding by
There are
paying
no shareholders of the United States. It is not a company. It is not a private company.
my taxes to that mob instead of to the legitimate de jure government department that comprises of we the people here in Australia?
Miraculously, the Department
Oh, that's good Gregory term. That actually makes me hopeful about it.
of Unlawful Air Conditioning's supposed law requiring Scott to apply for a pre-charged equipment license was waived and conveniently recategorized Scott's Corvette as a personal effect.
Next thing you know, I hear through my customs broker that, oh, you're exempt. We've assessed your car as a personal effect, almost as if it's a toothbrush or a necklace.
They probably wanted to be done dealing with your bullshit, if I'm being honest. They probably wanted to just be done with you, so they fudged shit and said, whatever, just get this guy away so we don't have to answer his fucking phone calls anymore. Which I wish people wouldn't do.
Although Scott did not have to part with $400, his questions remained unanswered.
It was only over $400! You're a rich guy! Fuck you! You douchebag! I was going to be charged $400 for my extra for my import fee. So I decided the government isn't real.
Was the requirement to apply?
It's 400 Aussie dollars too, so that's like less than 400 American dollars. That's like that's like maybe 280 American dollars, roughly. Oh, I got that real close. I guesstimated that so fucking close. Thank you, Umbrella Video.
For a
And Imprint.
license simply a money grab? Why is it that Scott noticed
Do you think I have a Blu-ray problem? I learned Australian currency conversion off the top of my head for Blu-rays to look at their stock in their Australian companies. And I didn't realize I was doing that. Is that bad?
so many inconsistencies and irregularities? Why was he so meticulous? A look into his background tells the story. Scott worked his way up to first officer and captain aboard luxury mega yachts, some worth around $100 million.
Do you think that the captain of the mega yacht owns the mega yacht? I'm sure he's not hurting for money. He's getting paid by super rich people. I'm sure he gets paid well, but nonetheless, he doesn't own the super mega yacht.
Scott was no slouch when it came to dealing with customs clearances for vessels and crew in over 40 countries throughout the Caribbean, South Pacific, Mediterranean, Baltic Seas, Indian and Atlantic Oceans. Scott also had a degree in project management. He managed the refurbishment of 2 luxury yachts and delivered one to the Monaco Boat Show, winning praise as the best presented yacht.
Great.
My employers were billionaires.
Oh, yachts should be banned by the at least private ownership of yachts. Should not be a thing.
They were some of the fussiest people on the planet, and as a result I had to be meticulous. That might explain why I noticed so many details that normally are missed.
12 years of international experience, an eye for detail, and Scott's 9 months wrestling with the Department of Transport all helped him see a bigger picture. For Scott, luxury car tax or GST wasn't the issue.
I kind of doubt that.
Rather, it was who was charging it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, sure, buddy, sure. I was fine. I promise I'm fine paying. The government just isn't real.
What if customs?
He could all do this shit illegally and just bribe a motherfucker and be done with it. I wish he would have done that at this point rather than make this documentary, if I'm being honest. Just do a crime! Jesus.
Were not a lawful department of the de jure government of the Commonwealth of Australia. Would that mean customs had no more right to impose taxes than McDonald's?
No! Incorrect. You are wrong. I'm sorry. You are wrong.
Was it
It's barely a documentary. It's like a proto-video essay. It's basically a guy ranting.
reasonable to expect customs demonstrate that
Do you think he released this on DVD?
they were a de jure department of the government of the Commonwealth of Australia, comprised of we the people?
If we've got the situation where customs is not the de jure government department that we all presume and believe it is.
It's called customs. Like, what? It's not even a name thing at this point. It is customs.
And they're actually this corporate
Would I buy it if he did? Yes.
entity
I would love to own more media made by crazy people.
that's masquerading as government. Then yeah, we've got some pretty big problems.
Bugger.
However, knowing that they're 2 different entities and the one of them's a corporation and that it's the corporation that's got my car and it's the corporation that's trying to charge me GST and luxury car tax and it's the corporation that's sending me letters, then I know how to deal with them.
So what could Scott do?
My first move was to present a notice to Australian Customs and Border Protection Service in Fremantle, giving them opportunity to demonstrate that they were in fact a legitimate government department, the Department of Customs and Excise.
Okay, if you import your car without paying us, we're gonna have you arrested. Is that enough proof? Ryan Cooper with the $2 super chat says, how many Neil Breen movies do you own? I think I only physically own 2 or 3 of them. They're the good ones, though.
As defined in our Constitution.
Customs were challenged to demonstrate they were not a corporate entity.
I unironically do wish that someday one of the boutique Blu-ray labels, like Vinegar Syndrome or something, or Severin maybe, would put out a Neil Breen box set. It would be nice.
And the trail of annual
Yeah, I have Twisted Pair.
reports leading to
There's bad Neil Breen movies. There are ones that are less entertaining to watch. Yes. There's like 2 or 3 that are like absolute bangers that you can bring to any movie night for like people who like bad movies and they'll kill. Then there's like a couple that are like okay. And then there's like 1 or 2 that are like not even good as bad movies, to be honest.
the Commonwealth of Australia registered in Washington, D.C. was somehow legitimate.
How many Blu-rays in total do I have? Over 4,000 now.
Wouldn't the burden of proof be on the federal government, who Customs reports to prove they don't report to Washington, D.C.?
No. Because you're the one making the claim that they report to Washington, D.C. You're the one making the claim. The common belief is already that the Australian government is the government. So for you to say, no, I think you're a fake government based in Washington, D.C., you have the burden of proof because you have to convince other people because they don't already believe that.
If they couldn't, would that make them a corporate entity?
Yep, over 4,000. Gotta get 5,000 more Blu-rays for that joke to be really funny, though.
Can you prove Australian Customs and Border Protection Service is a real government department?
Look at my badge.
Is Customs
Duck Sauce says, Hannah, I have a question. Which country has the most production of DVD and Blu-ray media still being used? I know Japan is still into physical media. Japan's big. Japan is very big for physical media still. Australia is also pretty big because some areas have less reliable internet connections. So there's still a market for physical media in some places in Australia. Those are the big ones I know. I know a lot of the manufacturing for Blu-ray discs is in Mexico now. But that's just the manufacturing, so I don't know.
a company?
My badge has a shiny star.
Now, to me,
Let me go back, I gotta listen to this.
Would
Sorry.
that make them a corporate entity?
Can you prove Australian Customs and Border Protection Service is a real government department?
Look at my badge.
Is Customs a company?
My badge has a shiny star.
Like he's literally showing you like a badge or something? What is he looking for? What is he looking for evidence? I'm so confused. Not sure about DVDs. Probably Mexico too, but I really don't know.
now, to me, the way I would deal with a corporation is you would put terms and conditions in place.
Many might think that putting terms and conditions to a government department is impossible. What if Customs relied upon our presumption that they were government?
Okay, they don't though. Why do you think they're not government? Really just the name thing? Just the name thing?
What if Customs couldn't prove
If we have weird specific DVDs and Blu-rays, would I want them? Yeah, but I don't have the P.O. box anymore, so there isn't really a way to send them, unfortunately.
they were a real government department?
What proof can you show me Customs is legitimate?
My badge is very impressive.
Absent that proof,
Sir, again, you are in the customs building. Like, do you think that they're con artists that built a whole building and put, like, Australian customs enforcement, and it's just, like, a big grift? Like, what? Ah!
they would be treated as if they were a corporate entity.
They're not a corporate entity.
And within my first notice, I provided terms and conditions that would govern the relationship between myself and Customs. Now, that notice, I gave them 7 calendar days to respond to me and give me the evidence
They have no obligation to provide you with anything.
that they were in fact legitimate. Absent that evidence, the position that would be taken, or the default position if you like, was that they were the corporate entity and that terms and conditions would apply.
That's not how this works. That's absurd. If I send a random government agency a letter that says, if you don't respond to this letter, or I guess I'd phrase it differently, or they'd phrase it differently. I am writing you as a sovereign, divine individual, and I hereby declare that you, governmental entity, are secretly a bunch of lizard people, and if you don't respond to me in 7 days, I'll know you're lizard people, and legally you're lizard people. I wouldn't make them lizard people if they don't respond to my insane bullshit.
Apply.
We all deal with companies entering lawfully binding contracts every day. We download music. We park our cars. And unless we agree to that company's terms and conditions, we have to go elsewhere for that service.
Are you really government?
Why should anyone from Australian Customs and Border Protection Service respond? Why should they have to demonstrate they were a legitimate government department?
Yeah, it's an absurd question.
Why should they have to prove anything?
They demand we prove our identity. Let's see theirs.
But they are
Okay, yes, but the fact that they are able to do that with force, they're the government. Like, what do you mean? The fact that they have jurisdiction, the fact that they can enforce that law, makes them the government. What do you think the state is? Ah!
our government.
Really? Are there certificates of commission just for decoration?
But they have to be government.
Personating a Commonwealth officer is a crime punishable by up to 2 years in jail.
Okay, but they're not doing that. They are officials. They are officials.
The mere existence of such a crime indicates there may be those who claim government status yet do not have it. That is, they are masquerading as government. Could we even expect today's public servants to be aware they represent a corporate entity?
2 years in jail. Damn sure I'd reply.
What if you were not government?
Okay, but they're not going to be charged with that because they're not impersonating anyone. They are government officials.
I'd shut up.
What are the ramifications
This
of
is like that Facebook text people would post on the profile creating a new terms and conditions, like Facebook's terms and conditions are no longer valid. Yeah, people are like, dumb. A lot of people are real dumb.
of not being able to challenge laws or government? Does that place government above the law?
No, but the government's still the government?
Essentially, the ramifications would be that any law could be brought in without accountability. No one would have to answer to anyone for the ability to...
That's a very good point. Crazy Jersey Lady says, like, when a cop wants me to prove my identity, he asks for my driver's license. He doesn't just say, prove it. Right. So what is he looking for? Absolutely. If he gave a specific criteria that would falsify his belief, it would be helpful.
Produce such a law, and we as the people would just get steamrolled and basically have to comply with absolutely everything.
Based on what the Chief Justice said in 1942 about pretend laws, Scott wanted to know if GST and luxury car tax were also pretend laws.
No, they're not. The fact that you believe that it's an excess of power does not mean that the law believes that it's an excess of power. That's not how this works. Typical sovereign citizen behavior, they, due to personal reasons, interpret some constitutional or foundational principle of law in a way that benefits them specifically, without considering that they would need to have other people interpret the law the way they do for their argument to make sense. And their interpretations are usually wrong.
So I hear there are pretend laws in Australia. What about the law for luxury car tax?
What do you mean? It is the law. You have to pay.
But is it legitimate?
That's irrelevant. You have to pay.
Is it a pretend law?
Just pay.
No!
Damn it.
I so badly wish I could have seen these conversations in real life, because they must have been insane. Like, how would you talk to this guy? How do you explain to someone that the government's the government? Like, you can look back at the foundation of Australia, of its government, and then look at the history of the continuity of government, and you could be like, oh yeah, that's the same government. You could look at everything from whenever they signed their own constitution or whatever to now, and you would be like, yep, that's the same government. What does he think happened?
With all these frequently unanswered questions, are we the ones assuming customs are government?
I was asking about the validity of the origin of those acts and the validity of the existence of that actual department and of whether they actually were a department.
Scott gave Customs 7 days to demonstrate they were a department of the de jure government of the Commonwealth of Australia. Was 7 days enough? Customs Client Service Charter outlined a response could be expected within 5 working days. In order to validate any response from Customs, Scott turned to our Constitution. He was careful not to look.
Oh my god, he went to an actual
Our Constitution.
archive to view, like, old original copies.
He was
Look, oh my god, you fucking loser. You know he was like, I gotta go see the original copies in case they changed it. In case they secretly changed the law, I need to go see the old books.
careful not to look at the Constitution of the Commonwealth registered in Washington, D.C.
The Constitution is not an instrument for the government to restrain the people. It is an instrument for the people to restrain the government.
That's Patrick Henry!
Now, if the Chief Justice of the High Court of Australia suggested that there's pretend laws, then I'm joining the dots here and I'm wanting to know exactly whether this GST and the luxury car tax is legitimate. And I would expect that it would be a simple matter of reaching into the top drawer and going, yep, here's the royal assent that was granted on that act. This is how it came in. Here you go. There's the evidence. Thank you very much.
Scott was unwilling to accept customs were lawful just because
Unwilling to accept is the perfect phrasing.
they said so.
Can you prove that?
No. Just pay me.
A simple letter was not going to suffice.
Yeah, he's just a rich, delusional asshole.
I wanted someone to stake their reputation and their professional responsibility, if they were a so-called public servant, to swear that Australian Customs and Border Protection Service was the Department of Customs and Excise. I wanted someone to really swear the truth that that is what's going on, almost as if it were giving court testimony.
Customs were meant to respond within 5 business days. They didn't respond at all.
Yeah, that probably went directly into the crazy people folder. The shredder.
Well, in the same way that if you don't pay your telephone bill, the telephone company will send you a reminder note.
Lesby Badat says, quote from my wife, I love the idea that he believes that government would make the changes but not just delete the evidence, that the wording in a law had been different, like they just leave the evidence lying around in archives to be found by true believers like it's a National Treasure movie. He's kind of in a movie in his head. He's the main character.
I sent Customs a reminder notice, essentially, reminding them of all the terms and conditions that would apply in the absence of their ability to demonstrate they were the same legitimate Department of Customs and Excise. So it's a reminder notice, it's an honourable thing, it gives them another 7 days to provide that evidence I was looking for.
Remember, Customs still have Scott's Corvette, and they haven't proven they are really government.
Hey, you know how they seized your car? They're the government. Like, if they weren't the government, guess what? You could go to the police and be like, oh, some random people stole my car. But you know why you can't do that? Because they didn't, because they're the government.
And are looking more and more like a subsidiary company of the Commonwealth.
You have not, again, what do you mean more and more? You haven't presented any further evidence or anything? You're still just pointing to, look, this is registered in the United States and it has the same name as the Commonwealth of Australia. That happens all the time. This happens with Dun & Bradstreet numbers, too, for, like, credit scores for, like, often corporations and stuff like that, but also governments have them as well. So sovereign citizens will see them registered in something that is most often used to register private businesses, but also governments and stuff are in there, so they go, ah, that must mean that governments are private corporations. No, there are all sorts of reasons that governments, local, state, and federal, all around the world, in the United States, have different things registered, because often these governments interface in very commercial fashions outside of the country, so they need to have these numbers and stuff to comply with certain regulations, even though they are a country. In another country, they might be operating in a commercial-like manner.
Registered in Washington, D.C. By remaining silent, have customs set aside their own client service charter and thereby tacitly agreed to be in a corporate entity?
Is customs a company?
My badge has a shiny star.
Many may argue that remaining silent does not constitute an agreement.
Yep.
Does that mean we can avoid agreements by remaining silent? A plastic card inserted into an ATM will be ejected if no buttons are pressed within a certain time. A court may rule against the party if no defense is submitted within a specified period.
Yes, because they're the government. Again, do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Reasoning by metaphor is not doing you any good.
Debt collectors issue notices of demand, and the ATO issues default assessments in the same way. And surprise, surprise, so do customs. Invariably, the expiry of time triggers an agreed outcome by default. Without this, one may avoid resolution
Your examples were things the government does.
of any issue simply by remaining silent. To invalidate the notices Scott served to customs would require the invalidation of these same processes commonly used worldwide.
Do you think that if precedent for something changes in one country, it changes everywhere? No. What? I don't think he understands how power works, generally. Or the law?
Silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless.
Evil. Oh my goodness, they're charging me an import tax. It's evil. I'm a rich guy that just wants his luxury classic car from America. Shut up. Oh my God.
Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act.
The notice of default was to formalise the fact that no response had been received to
I don't even understand his Australian patriotism. I think someone else said in chat the other day, it's basically a strip mine pretending to be a country, right?
the first two presentments,
That's a joke. I'm sorry, Australians.
and to lay out that the terms and conditions that were now agreed upon by the parties, in this case by the absence of any objection, would apply from that point onwards.
Customs had every opportunity to prove they were not a corporate entity. As a company, they had every opportunity to reject Scott's terms and conditions. Before being invoiced, Customs made a conscious decision not to release Scott's Corvette.
You have to pay.
It was this decision, this action, that constituted further acceptance of Scott's terms. No different to driving into a car park, the action of entering the car park confirms acceptance of the terms. So when Customs chose to seize Scott's Corvette as surety for the payment of an unsubstantiated charge, namely GST and luxury car tax, they chose to receive an invoice in accordance with Scott's terms.
That's not how this works. It's not how anything works.
What I've done is essentially defined a period of reasonable release for my Corvette, absent evidence that Customs was the legitimate Department of Customs.
You have no right to demand that. You have no power to demand that. How are you going to enforce that? Like, ultimately, that's what this comes down to. This is what it comes down to at the end of the day. If they don't do what you say, and you're saying they have to, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? That's pretty much the answer, right? What are you going to do about it? If you're a government, you have answers to that. You don't.
An excise, and that the acts for GST and luxury car tax were valid. And beyond that date, Customs seizing my Corvette.
I hope he never gets his fucking car. I hope he never got it. I hope they seized it and, like, auctioned it off.
As surety for the payment of those taxes.
The $400 was specifically for the AC unit. We do not know the cost of the car in totality.
I started counting the days.
It hasn't said.
So 14 days in, after this reasonable date of release, I sent them an invoice.
And it's not like Scott was being unreasonable.
And on the
I know! I'm Scott! I get to decide if I'm being reasonable! Guys, I'm not being unreasonable. I'm just a rich douchebag who doesn't want to pay my taxes, saying that the government is illegitimate because they've stolen my sports car, guys! It's super serious!
invoice, I gave them a nice little waiver that said I would waive this entire invoice if they were able to demonstrate that those...
Good news, they don't have to do anything. Your invoice has no legal authority behind it, so they don't have to do anything.
Acts were legitimate, that they were not working for this corporation based over in Washington. I said, how much more reasonable can I be? And all I had to do was demonstrate that they were legitimate and that their acts were valid.
Yet again, Customs chose to set aside their client service charter and remain silent, thereby declining the waiver offered. It appeared Customs either did not want to demonstrate they were real government, or they weren't.
They don't have to. They do not have to do that for you. I do not understand what you are even looking for.
Bugger.
Gave them the final notice on the first invoice, sent them a third invoice, and gave them the opportunity to waive that one. Every opportunity, every step of the way, all I'm asking for is evidence that they're legitimate and that their acts are valid. And now
As of October, let's read the Chiron. As of October 12th, Customs have declined waiver 12 times. This time I'm super serious, guys, if you don't respond this time. Who's the interviewer? I think it's just him. I don't think there's a separate person. I think he's just in front of a camera acting like he's being interviewed. I think this is 100% him.
they're getting themselves into this invoiced situation where I've given them every opportunity to waive the invoices and still they're...
Or he hired some college students who could rent out, you know, a school camera to film this for him over an afternoon or something.
setting aside their
That could be a thing.
customer service charter to respond within 5 business days, and they're sitting there stone cold silent.
I would actually say I don't think that's the case, though, or the film students suck really bad, because this is the wrong framing for a documentary. Like, it's almost there. I actually cropped it to where it's almost acceptable for you guys, but to me, I know you can't see it, the frame's way too wide. Frame is way too wide in the full thing. Terrible.
Within 5 business days, and they're sitting there stone cold silent.
After 3 notices, 3 invoices, 2 statements, and 2 overdue notices, Customs finally responded 59 days after Scott's first notice.
Yeah, presumably because they wanted you to stop sending them letters?
I knew government would respond.
Customs' letter initially appeared convincing for Scott.
It's crap. Doesn't answer your question.
When I read that letter, there's a certain amount of fear, I suppose, and as I'm reading through, and perhaps that's the programming that's come through from years and years of expecting government to be government. And yet, line by line by line, it was just saying, you have to do this, this has to be done, this has to be done, this has to be done. And so the reaction within me was quite fearful. It was as if my hopes had been dashed on this until I started reading between the lines and capturing every word exactly what it meant.
Oh no, do you get into the thing where he over-defines words? Brandon Joe William does that. He stole it from his Scientology stuff.
And that put one hell of a smile on my face. As
Oh, yikes. Yep, he found a way to warp words to mean what he wants them to mean.
I realised exactly what was going on.
What do we tell him?
Quote the Customs Act, or something.
What about his questions?
Ignore them. He can't opt out.
What if I cut and paste some generic crap?
Brilliant idea. Fill it up and make it look convincing.
Not one of Scott's questions
How many pictures of this fucking car does this man have?
was answered.
And so what's
I
happening
wonder
now,
how many pictures of his kids he has.
look at this letter from Customs, as I went looking through there for what wasn't said. Where's the information?
Is he a car fucker? No, I have respect for car fuckers. I have no respect for this guy. Remember that guy on the My Strange Addiction? Who, I forget his name, but the car's name was Chase. I remember the car's name for some reason instead of the humans. And you know what? I respect that man for fucking his car. You know why? He's fully on board with it. He's like, yeah, I'm in love with this fucking car. And he kissed that car, and he caressed that car, and he done unspeakable things with a koozie to that car. And he decided to talk about it on television. Incredible.
That
I don't know if this guy has kids.
demanding. Where's the evidence that says
Car fuckers would have paid the tax to bring it in? True!
Australian Customs and Border Protection
Based an objectum file pilled.
Service are actually the Department of Customs and Excise? Where's the evidence in that letter that says
He's probably got paid for the episode. They don't make very much. They make like $600. Which, like, don't get me wrong, $600 isn't bad. I wouldn't say no to $600. Would I air my most embarrassing things on television for $600? No. I've already done it for free.
the Act for Luxury Car Tax and GST was lawfully brought into existence? Rather than just quote me from the Act, where's the evidence I was looking for?
Look at my badge.
By avoiding Scott's questions, were Customs acting as if they were above the law?
I don't care. It's baseless.
Was Customs...
The furry episode was absolute anti-furry garbage. Oh, I agree. The whole show has a tone of, like, especially when it's something benign, but people like that's just weird, very insulting. I watch the show because I find it interesting seeing all the different things people can be addicted to or really into, special interests. But man, some of those episodes are so fucking mean. Jesus.
letter deliberately deceptive?
They referred to the fact that laws were created within the Parliament of the Commonwealth. I went, well, yeah, that's what it's defined within our Constitution. However, the first question that came up was...
Lesby Bad at it says, as a Transformers fan, I can tell you secondhand that there are many holes in a vehicle. The exhaust isn't one you should go for. You gotta prep Never mind. I'm not making a Transformers anal joke. I refuse.
Which parliament did the law for GST and luxury car tax come from? Did those laws or acts come out of the Parliament of the Commonwealth, like I'm being told by Customs, or did it come from the Parliament of Australia, like we see on the website and currently sitting in Canberra at the moment? Which parliament were these laws coming from? Because
the real one.
If they're coming
because there's only one.
From the Parliament of Australia, well, that'd smack quite nicely of the pretend laws that the Chief Justice was talking about.
Customs were factually correct in citing the Parliament of the Commonwealth of we the people, leaving Scott to presume the acts for GST and luxury car tax came from the same Parliament.
They're sitting over...
They did. You can literally look at... It's the same Parliament. What makes you think it's different?
In the land of we can't justify our own existence, we're pointing at the legitimate system as to how laws are created and expecting me to presume that they're one and the same. And I've drawn the distinction between the two of them and asked for the evidence, and it hasn't been provided.
Because your question is nonsensical. That's frankly the answer. Your question is nonsensical and based on delusional premises, and you need mental health help is the answer, unfortunately.
Given royal assent by a properly commissioned Governor-General?
Your claims are baseless.
You're not listening. I didn't make a claim. I asked a question.
You did. You are making the claim with a follow-up question. You are claiming there are two governments, one real and one fake. Which one are you? The answer is there aren't two governments. There's just the one.
I don't care. It's baseless.
Customs letter made it clear they had no intention to pay Scott's invoices. Was this express intent to breach the contract? Typically, one would turn to the courts to resolve breaches of contract. But what happens if our courts do not serve Australians?
I guess what I would tell sovereign citizens like this is it kind of just sounds like you want to overthrow the government. Like, it really just sounds like you don't like how things are at all, and the solution to you would just be, I guess you gotta overthrow the whole government and start from zero. I don't think you're gonna do that, but it sounds like that's what you want, so just say that. I don't know what to tell you.
Rather, they serve the Commonwealth registered in Washington, D.C. To validate the courts in Australia, Scott turned to letters patent and instructions issued by the late Queen Victoria in 1900.
Oh, that's great. Yep, I'm sure letters from Queen Victoria will solve this matter.
The Governor-General may constitute and appoint in our name and on our behalf all such judges, commissioners, justices of the peace, and other necessary officers and ministers of our said Commonwealth.
What if Australia didn't have a properly commissioned Governor-General? Commissioned
What if?
in accord.
What if? You see how he's working backwards? I need this to be illegitimate so I don't have to pay my import tax. What can I find that I can use? What if this guy's illegitimate? I have no evidence for that, but if he was, that would be good for me. So let's go looking for evidence of that.
With letters patent of the late Queen Victoria. Who would give royal assent to acts? Would Australia have a lawful commissioner for taxation? Would Australia have a lawful police commissioner? How about lawfully appointed judges?
Are the judges commissioned by a properly commissioned Governor-General?
That's irrelevant. Just take us to court.
Could Australians take those falsely claiming government status to a real court?
Do the judges work for the Commonwealth registered in Washington?
What if they were? Take us to court.
Subsequent research indicated that the last lawful commission of a Governor-General for the Commonwealth comprising of we the people was in 1927.
When did Australia get its independence? Was it around a little after 1927?
Letters patent and instructions from Queen Victoria in 1900 outlined exactly how a Governor-General must be commissioned, and they categorically reserved the power and authority to revoke those letters patent to heirs and successors of the late Queen Victoria.
So the real question is, were the recent letters patent that today's Australian government rely upon, which supposedly revoked...
Okay, let's see. Okay, in 1901, the colonies in Australia combined to become the Commonwealth, and they gained self-governing domain within domestically, where the UK still handled foreign policy stuff for them. In 1931, the Statute of Westminster granted legislative independence to Australia. It was formally adopted in 42, and then 86, they achieved full legal and constitutional independence. So I assume the 31 one is one that's important for this. It's a country and a continent, yes.
Revoked the 1900 letters patent, issued under the Great Seal of the United Kingdom. And were those recent letters patent issued by an heir and successor to the late Queen Victoria?
Is today's Governor-General working for the Commonwealth, registered in Washington, D.C.?
Is the Governor-General commissioned by our Queen?
No. She works for us.
I thought the Queen appointed her?
We have a Queen
No, not for a long time!
too.
Is she our Queen?
No. We created one called the Queen of Australia.
Is that treason?
What? I'm sorry, what? He's claiming someone at customs said there was a Queen of Australia?
It works for us.
What? This was 2012 was when this released.
Am I going to be faced with justices who report back through Canberra to Washington to that?
No, but they're also not going to agree with you because you're a nutbag. Is he lying now? I don't know. He's very delusional, so we're hearing a conversation from his perspective long after the fact, filtered through layers of his own delusions. So it's kind of impossible to really know what was said that he's interpreting to be those words.
Commonwealth, and not the Commonwealth comprising of we the people. And am I...
At the time there was a Queen of Australia? Her name's Waltzing... Wait, what? I'm confused. It's a joke? Okay. I was very confused. I was like, I don't know a lot about Australia. But I'm pretty sure I don't know that little about Australia.
I'm going to be faced with a situation where I can't take customs to court because I'm dealing with a judicial system that's owned by the same company.
Bugger.
In the absence of a de jure justice system, and based on Scott's maritime background, Scott...
His maritime background.
De jure justice system.
Well, I watched a lot of Gilligan's Island as a kid, so I'm probably well versed in admiralty law too.
And based on Scott's maritime background, Scott served a lien against customs.
Do not put a false lien on the government. You're gonna get in trouble for that. I gotta look this guy up. Did this guy go to jail? You put a lien on customs? Okay.
Liens are used by...
Bitter grins says, I still can't believe all this insanity is over $400 dues. That's not the total. That was for the air conditioner component. He has never said the amount for the car in total.
companies worldwide. For example, shipping
customs isn't unalienable. God damn it.
companies claim ownership over goods until invoices are paid. And so...
For reference, would that be Head and Hands or Dies of Laughter? Probably Head and Hands. That wasn't Dies of Laughter. You'd know.
do customs. Scott's lien effectively mirrored the same due process courts use.
Well, the lien is essentially no more than an affidavit that lays out line by line.
You cannot provide due process because you are not the court. No one is due the process of being judged by this random rich asshole. That's not the process anyone is due. How far into this are we? 40 minutes into a 52-minute thing. I do have some extra stuff for the end if we want to go on for a little bit longer, but we're getting closer to the end.
Line, separate points, or the statements of fact of what happened. It lays out allegations, and it puts the onus and responsibility onto the other party that lien is addressed to come back with evidence that would rebut each one.
I don't need to do the calls to action. We're good. People know the stuff. It's fine. Well, I'll do one. Like the video on YouTube. Thanks.
Those points.
I don't know if this stream is going to go 3 hours. It might be a little shorter today.
Different
We are doing the patron and member-only stream after this, though.
Than in a court case. The allegations are laid, and the job of the other party is to rebut those points.
The directors of Australian Customs and Border Protection Service were served the lien because directors are responsible for the actions of a company. Whereas previously it had taken 59 days for Customs to respond, a letter was received almost instantly.
Yeah, because you did a crime. You did a crime?
From the Director of Litigation. Customs did not rebut any point.
You wish Twitch had a subscriber-only stream option? It does. I think it does.
Within the lien. Rather than simply address...
I just don't do that, because most people who watch me, I think, are subscribed. I guess at least the chatters. That's not necessarily true for the, like, people who just watch. Which, hi, by the way, lurkers. Welcome, welcome. Love you guys parasocially, too.
Scott's challenge. Customs chose to attack it. However, they were very careful.
Oh yeah, he's probably using Windows Movie Maker, or whatever they called it in 2012. I think they changed the name at some point.
And so what I was seeing here was not an actual threat, but a potential threat. We may refer this matter to the Federal Police. We may reference the Criminal Code. We may do this. And I'm having a great old laugh because it would appear that...
I wonder if... I really got to look this guy up at the end of this and figure out if he ever got in trouble for this or what happened.
That they've taken very seriously the matter that making threats without basis are going to cop them an invoice.
What if the Federal Police worked for the same Commonwealth as Customs? The company registered in Washington, D.C. Scott wrote to the Federal Police. They were advised determination would be made of the capacity in which they act, should they become involved. Nothing further was heard from the Australian Federal Police. 30 days into the lien against Customs, Scott still had no evidence Customs were a department of the real government.
Can you prove
He's just stuck on this one idea. It's brilliant.
it?
Customs wanted Scott to pay the GST and luxury car tax and then take them to court.
What didn't I get as in the way of a response from customs?
You won't prove any of your acts are valid.
You may elect to have them.
Oh my god, wait, does this guy have a current YouTube channel? Okay, it's not current, but he does have a lot of stuff. He does, oh yeah, he did other documentaries too. Basically long YouTube videos. Shit. Alright, I'll save him. God damn. Is this his LinkedIn? Oh yeah, he has this too. Bankruptcy is the name of his... Oh, that's a different documentary he did. Okay, we'll have to cover that at some point. Good to know.
Dealt with by a court.
I didn't get any evidence or validation that the act that was used to substantiate or charge GST or luxury car tax was in fact lawful.
You won't even prove that you are a real government.
So what? Take us to court.
I didn't get any evidence.
Yeah, that's basically the answer. Like, either pay it, or you're not getting your car back, or sue us. That's the answer. Like, that's the proof we're the government. That's what's happening.
Evidence that they were the same Department of Customs and Excise as defined within our Constitution. I didn't get any evidence that those acts came from the Parliament of the Commonwealth. I didn't get this, I didn't get that, I didn't get this, I didn't get that. All the way through. Bang. Sent it back and said, here you go, have another 10 days, have another opportunity to provide me with that information demonstrating that all of this is legitimate, rebut any of my terms, all of my points that I've laid out in the affidavit, give me some evidence.
So you can't even prove the courts are valid?
I don't care. Just take us to court.
Yeah, it's not his job. It's not his job to debate the legitimacy of the government with you. It just isn't. So leave his office and sue them if you think this is an issue. That's the answer.
With no rebuttal to the lien by customs, it was perfected after 90 days. By not defending against the lien, Customs had agreed to all allegations and invoices, confirming the lien as the ultimate statement of facts in the matter, just like default judgment in a court. Scott's research uncovered that Australian car owners are presently going through hell, forced to pay mechanics to degas their air conditioners to meet an unsubstantiated act.
Oh no! Oh, do you have to drain your Freon when you internationally ship your vehicle? Oh, fucking do it! It's a luxury vehicle. Oh, my luxury vehicle. Who could have expected the maintenance and regulations around my luxury vintage vehicle are so expensive. It's almost like this is a luxury toy for rich kids, and that's why normal people don't have them.
And then pay again to have it recharged?
What? Yes! Yes! Grow up!
And yet Scott was exempt, seemingly by asking, "Who are you?"
They just didn't want to deal with you. Them telling you didn't have to pay that was them breaking the rules because you're such an obnoxious cunt. Like, that's the reality of the situation. You are so obnoxious, they were breaking the law to get you to leave, and you still wouldn't accept it.
A friend of mine had a package seized at Perth Airport. Customs demanded payment of GST and duty. They sent a first notice, a reminder notice, and then a final notice. At that point, we crafted a notice of our own for Customs to demonstrate
Joke's on you, coppers. I'll write my own warrant for your arrest.
they were a legitimate government department and that their acts were valid. 3 weeks later,
I got a knock on the door and my package had arrived. I thought it might have been an accident, and then I got a letter from Customs. Customs had instructed Australia Post to release my package.
Why does the same process work for Nick's package, but not Scott's Corvette?
Because anyone releasing it without this is breaking the rules and just doesn't want to deal with you. For a smaller item, sure, they might break it. For the car? No.
Simply incompetent or criminal?
I purchased a video projector back in March 2012 as an experiment to see if I could repeat the same success. Customs in Melbourne seized my projector and then sent me demand for GST. I sent them a demand exactly as I did for my Corvette and exactly as my friend had done. And, surprise, surprise, my projector turned up.
That's so interesting. I wonder if for a time they had a policy that, like, if someone's like a sovereign citizen crazy person and the whatever is being held by customs is under a certain estimated value or something, they just don't deal with it because they don't want to spend the time and it would cost too much to interface with them. But of course, once it gets up to like a car, that's probably a pretty high fee that you'd be kind of waving away. Dillis Filler says, Freon, by the way, has global warming potential of about 11,000. That number's how many times more than carbon dioxide a substance can trap heat in the atmosphere. Freon is being phased out for a reason. Oh, shit.
No duty was demanded, equivalent to luxury car tax on the Corvette. They didn't even demand GST.
We make the rules around here. And we break them too.
The Department of Unlawful Air Conditioning couldn't substantiate any charges when asked, who are you? Customs at Perth Airport couldn't substantiate any charges when asked, who are you? And Customs in Melbourne couldn't substantiate their charges when asked, who are you?
Customs in Fremantle have not been able to substantiate their charges in 12 months, yet Scott's Corvette is still held hostage.
That's ridiculous. Governments don't do that.
These frequently unanswered questions and unsubstantiated charges should throw every aspect of government in Australia under the spotlight. Stamp duty, taxation, registration, licenses, rates, every Australian is affected. Many Australians won't give a rat's. Many would prefer to pay an unsubstantiated charge than to question it. And among those who do question charges, who questions the validity of who sent it? Could this be the solution? Simply asking, who are you? By insisting on government proving their lawful validity, imposters will stick out like dog's balls. I asked Scott, could there be any possible explanation for the appearance of two governments?
Well, I've asked the Minister for Transport, the Minister for Local Government, the Minister for Police, the Minister for Environment, and recently the Minister for Justice, and not one of them even attempted to provide me an explanation. So if we have government of the people...
Hold on, I'm going to leave a comment.
We've got a bunch of politicians who are totally incompetent. They can't even answer simple questions. Alternatively, our representatives' arrogant...
What did I say? I said, this is just a rich asshole who doesn't want to pay a fee for his rich boy toy. What a pathetic nutcase.
refuse to answer those who elected them.
I know. Why do I make the comment? Who's it for? Me, I guess. I don't know.
And that's the best case scenario.
Wow. If that's the best case scenario, what would be the worst?
Well, for starters, we'd have pretend laws. We'd have corporations masquerading as government, controlling our courts, police, taxation and councils, and then sending all the profits to shareholders overseas.
Personating a Commonwealth officer is a crime punishable by up to 2 years in jail.
Australians may be laid back, but we are sure quick to stand up for giving people a fair go.
Oh, did people stand up to help you with your car trouble, buddy? Did the Australian people rise up against the government because you had to pay a tax?
And we are totally committed to protecting our rights and freedoms. We are at a crossroads with the silence being experienced to very important questions. If there are legitimate answers, then Scott has exposed...
All laws are pretend. It's like when people say, like, that word's made up. Like, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. What do these people think laws are? A lot of sovereign citizens believe that law is not a social construct that humans have created and kind of exists between us in social dynamics and relationships and large groups, because, you know, it's necessary for our survival, for us to have civilizations and stuff, to have kind of rules that we agree upon and enforce. They don't seem to think that. They seem to think that the law is something that exists in the universe. Like, it's something measurable that one can objectively discover, and any derivation from that objective law that they imagine exists is corrupt. And of course, what they believe objective law to be is whatever allows them to do what they want to do without paying the government or getting a license, whatever it happens to be. It's usually a selfish thing where they don't want to be involved in society. They don't want to pay for fees, they don't want to pay taxes, they don't want to make sure that they are accountable to society writ large.
A level of incompetence that is a threat to our national security. Our ability to defend against people impersonating government officials has been nullified. This alone should raise the alarm. No country...
That sounded like a new challenger is approaching sound from Smash Brothers Melee.
should be allowed to be this vulnerable to corruption and outside threats to our sovereignty. If there are no legitimate answers, then we are confronted with what could be best described as treason by stealth. Frequently unanswered questions by the Australian government cannot be tolerated any longer, and we need to unite and ensure they are held accountable. So what can you do to help? What can you do?
Calls to action!
To help find the truth. Instead of driving his Corvette for the past 12 months, Scott has been the driving force.
Oh my god, he hasn't been able to drive his Corvette for a year. This poor man. We need to put some sort of benefit together. Oh my god.
Behind the website.
Has Bono heard about this?
truthnow.net. This website gives you the tools to ask vital questions of those claiming government status. Everything on the website is free. You can download pre-written letters to ask your representatives who they represent. And you can share this documentary through social media.
Is the website still up? What was it again? Hold on.
Of those claiming government status. Everything on the website. 12 months. Scott has been the driving force
It's up still?
behind the website
Truthnow.net. Oh my god. Okay. When's the last time he updated this site? I'm scared to know when he last did this. Is there like a news section? Hold on. Sometimes there's a news general. Oh, I gotta give you my email. I don't want to, I'm not gonna give you my email. I need to get a burner email for stuff like this.
Truthnow.net. This website gives you the tools to ask vital questions of those claiming government status. Everything on the website.
10minuteemail.com. Let's see. 10 more. What is it? What is it? Where's this? Is it this one? Copy. One second. Is it gonna let me? Unknown problem with the API request. Oh no! Okay, I think you can't even sign up. I think something's fucked up on the back end, so never mind. Couldn't do it anyway. That's a bummer.
Is free. You can download pre-written letters to ask your representative.
Oh, does he have that stuff though? Where was that? Hold on, where's my history? History, boo, boo, boo. Nope, wrong one. Well, that's not the full thing, though.
Representatives who they represent. And you can share this documentary through social media.
We've been taught not to question government. When problems arise, we say government should do something about it.
Thanks, Harold Elberman.
When that responsibility is shifted, too often as Aussies we say, she'll be right, or no worries, mate. But is it? If a law made in excess of power is not a law at all, then anyone masquerading as government is clearly an excess of power. Will you question today's lawmakers by asking, who are you?
Big Smoketown folk are reprimanded.
You are the resistance.
What a douchebag. I less found that interesting as a sovereign citizen thing, though he is certainly a sovereign citizen. I found more interesting that he's just clearly, like, through and through an absolute douchebag. Kind of impressive, actually.
1775 for 7 years until.
Does he ever get interesting?
How do you get to be America to be a verb? Well, an adverb modifies.
I'm gonna America all over your ass.
Modification is change. Change is motion. Motion is action, and action is verb. So what we had now is an adverb verb modification to create a fiction. All 50 states of the United States are written state of, and then they give them the name of the state, or state of a compound like North Dakota, South Dakota, North Carolina, South Carolina. And in 1834, Congress passed a law that our compound nouns must be hyphenated.
Congress passed a law saying that all compound... What? Congress doesn't control grammar. I hereby say the Oxford comma is mandatory or you go to Guantanamo Bay for 100 years. Okay.
Which would have then turned North Dakota, South Dakota, North Carolina, South Carolina into verbs with a hyphen in the name. So they wanted to make sure that all 50 states were conditioned.
He has a hair hat. He's like a human Mon-Chi-Chi.
A verb to go with we the people.
God damn, my Mon-Chi-Chi jokes have been on fucking fire lately.
As a verb to fit into the America verb. And this is a history of fiction from 1775 until current day. So we went.
Does he ever let his other guy talk? Oh, he does. Let's see younger him, I guess I should say, because this is when this mentor was still alive.
Into the technical.
Oh, the goatee.
And banking.
Now let's get a little bit into the technicalities of. David was holding up the fee for freight. Well, what exactly does that mean? Well, the fee for freight is consideration that is paid to move the vessel from point A to point B, all right? And so there's a value of postage. When we place our autograph across the postage, it makes us a postmaster letter carrier for the freight forwarding and allowing who we want to come in contract with that vessel. If we have a treaty with another nation or another citizen, or a contract with another citizen, and the citizen is in now, time, and space grammar, and he's using quantum communication skills to post his roads. One of the things that we have to look at is to get his ship's papers in order.
Why does it look fake? The blurriness of the video does make it look like he was like at a party and fell asleep and his friends like used markers to draw a goatee instead of it being a real goatee.
His ship's papers are the paperwork that gives specifics of your nationality, specifics of who you are as a being on this planet. Has description of height, weight, a lot of the forensic.
Okay, I don't need more of that.
In 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified, ending.
Oh, this is actually, I forgot I pulled this up today. This is from what was his name? James Rink. Do you guys remember super soldier guy James Rink? He did a thing about sovereign citizen stuff.
In 1868, the 14th Amendment was ratified, ending slavery by giving all Americans citizenship. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the states wherein they reside. United States Code annotated Amendment 14. However, what the public was not told, that while under the Lieber Code, a 14th Amendment citizen can only be found within the jurisdiction of the United States. That is, all government employees, all those who live in territories occupied by the federal government, such as Washington, D.C., and
none of this is true.
The former
slaves. At least not this part.
The rest of the population.
He did die. He did. He had a heart problem.
Was not subject to the 14th Amendment and thus could still claim jurisdiction under the original Constitution. In addition to that, after
thank you, Harold Doubleman.
The conclusion of the Civil War, the federal government was now occupying the southern states, placing these captured citizens under the jurisdiction of
captured citizens. You lost the war. You fucking lost. You fought a war to try and not only preserve but expand chattel slavery. Fuck you forever.
The Lieber Code.
We didn't do enough during Deconstruction. The occupation of the South should have never ended. At least not until shit got fixed, education-wise. Don't ever let them do the lost cause revisionism. Such horse shit.
Southern states had to agree to ratify this amendment in order for them to be granted their freedom from federal rule. Thus, instead of ending slavery, the 14th Amendment held all Southerners captive as slaves in the plantation known as the United States of America. Just like how all citizens were turned into corporations in 1790 to subject them to the Revolutionary War debts, 14th Amendment citizens were created to be franchisees, subject to the corporation known as the United States Incorporated.
No, that's not what the 14th Amendment did at all. Oh my god.
And like all corporate brands, you do not have any constitutional Bill of Rights protections. Proof of such can be found.
You do?
Found in the all caps version of your name, which signifies a corporate entity. After the Civil War, the United States defaulted on its war debt. During the bankruptcy proceedings, cunning lawyers in league with international bankers found a loophole within Article 1,
None of this is true.
Section 8, Clause 17 of the United States Constitution, which allowed the creation of a duplicate entity known as the Corporation of the United States of America.
I like the idea that you owe a bunch of debts or something, but you're just like, no, but we're actually a new entity now. We changed our name, and we're actually the Corporation of the United States of America. And they go, you got us. I guess you can't pay your debt now. Like, that doesn't even make sense.
To replace the now bankrupt and defunct Republic of the United States of America. This
was Rink a Floridian? I actually don't remember. I don't know if we ever knew where he was stationed out of.
Occurred with the passage of the District of Columbia Organic Act.
International bankers, does that mean Jews? Yes.
Of 1871.
He's a conspiracy theorist that's very into, the Vril Society, the idea of Nazis having secret ultimate technology and hiding in Antarctica. Yeah, he's that kind of conspiracy theorist for sure. Was, past tense. He's dead now.
Which incorporated the area of the...
Phoenix says, between the Nazi apologia and shit like this, I'm not sad James Rink is gone. I think, for me, I'm sad more for the person he could have been, because it always seemed like he was a little off. Like, something about his judgment was askew. So I'm sad for the person he maybe could have been. But yeah, he unfortunately turned into a person with a lot of hateful beliefs, which really, really, really sucks.
District of Columbia into a private foreign corporation chartered in the City of London known as the United States Incorporated. This corporation designated Congress as the board of directors to continue the business needs of the government under martial law. Thanks to the Lieber Code,
Agent 00 Soul says Confederate States of America existed for 4 years. I've had boobs longer than the Confederacy existed.
federal jurisdiction under the Organic Act was expanded to include not only all captured citizens in the southern states, but all Americans in all states. Thus,
Obama's term as president lasted twice as long as the Confederacy.
America had lost her sovereignty under the yoke of the Crown of England and the international bankers. During this same time, the Corporation of the United States adopted its own constitution, which was identical to the original national constitution. To fool the people, one...
Steve with a Q says, okay, so if anyone's interested in the quote from the Chief Justice that Scott Bartle used to imply that some laws were invalid, it's from page 408 of this ruling. Long story short, the Chief Justice was explaining the challenge was to determine if Parliament or the state had the power to enact those laws, not whether or not the Parliament was valid. The laws were found to be valid.
Word was changed from its original form, the Constitution for the United States of America, to its present-day all-capitalized form, which signifies a corporate entity.
It does not.
The Constitution of the United States of America. Incidentally, the Titles of Nobility Amendment was removed from this new Constitution.
That was never an amendment that passed. That was never an amendment that passed. Sovereign citizens are into a conspiracy theory where they think that passed. It didn't. James Rink was not Floridian. He was a North Carolinian. Okay. Oh, this is his obituary. That makes me sad. Jesus. Oh. It hit me like a sad bomb.
With the Illuminati in full control over the United States, they now sought to rule the world. After the death of Adam Weishaupt in 1830, Giuseppe Mazzini was selected to head the Illuminati. In 1871, the mantle of power was passed on again to the American General Albert Pike as its new director. Pike became fascinated with the idea of a one-world government and eventually constructed the Illuminati's blueprint of world domination. His plans called for the financing of 3 world wars in the 20th century. The first.
We didn't have 3 world wars in the 20th century. We had 2. Did the funding get cut back after the second one because the returns weren't as good as was expected?
War would bring about an atheist communist state.
An atheist communist state!
The ashes of Tsarist Russia. The Second War would bring about a Jewish Holocaust under a fascist government to ferment support of a Zionist state of Israel.
Oh, fuck you, dude. James, fuck you, fuck you. This is the protocols. This is the protocols. This is the protocols.
The Third War would manipulate the differences of Christians and Muslims.
Yeah, this is over.
For their own annihilation. Then finally, political Zionism would come out as victor.
So about the sad obituary. No comment.
Of all. These 3 world wars would require enormous funding. Since most of the royalty in Europe was already deeply in debt thanks to the numerous wars and conflicts created by the Rothschild banking dynasty, the only place left that could possibly pay for such ambitious plans was the now prosperous American Republic. After the Civil War, the United States went through a great industrial expansion. The new industries of oil, steel, textile, and railroad all needed generous financing, which the Rothschild family was more than eager to provide. To access these markets, the Rothschilds sent their agent.
You're right, it's protocols-esque, but I think it's the other letter. That's the Albert Pike letter, which is not the protocols, but it is alongside the protocols in terms of things that anti-Semitic people, hoaxes that they use to try and present their conspiracy. So I apologize, you're right, it's that letter.
Jacob Schiff to infiltrate the New York banking scene, which was controlled by J.P. Morgan. By the turn of the century, the Rothschilds had fully entrenched themselves into the tight fraternity of Wall Street banks, such as Goldman Sachs and Lehman Brothers. They now sought their most prized possession, full control over the American monetary system. To implode the entire banking system. The failures continued until J.P. Morgan and Company provided a generous loan to the insolvent banks. But J.P. Morgan was not trying to save the American banking system, but rather...
Yeah, no shit. if this even happened. Capitalist's gonna capitalist, you know?
...crisis to destroy his competition by choosing which banks he would bail out.
Is this kid 16? No. He's an adult that's dead.
But the biggest casualty...
He was an adult when he made this.
...of the economic fallout was the looming bankruptcy of the Corporation of the United States.
The United States has never gone bankrupt.
Which had no...
as of 2026. I also don't know how you think that would work. Macroeconomics is different than personal finances. Like, what do you expect to happen if the United States went, quote, bankrupt? Because it could go, I guess, in theory, insolvent, but, like, bankrupt? What do you... What does he think that means?
Their loans, which were due in 1912. In anticipation of this bankruptcy, representatives from the world's most powerful families met in November 1910 at a secret meeting at the Jekyll Island Club Resort in Georgia to discuss the foreclosure of the Corporation of the United States and to brainstorm solutions which would prevent future liquidity crises such as occurred during the Panic of 1907. Those in attendance included Senator Nelson Aldrich, Paul Warburg, representatives from
Yeah, he died a couple of years ago, I think now, a year or two.
J.P. Morgan and Company, and Jacob Schiff, representing the Rothschild family. They proposed a 20-year extension on the national debt if the United States would agree to charter a privately owned central bank, which would serve as a bank of last resort.
What do you mean an extension, 20-year extension of the national debt? Do you think the national debt is like a debt that needs to be paid in full at a certain date or else? Like, it's not like a credit card like bill. It's not like a personal loan. It's tied to like bonds and derivatives and what?
By lending money,
like debt is owned and it's its own market for the United States. Like, what are you talking about?
To other insolvent banks in order to prevent future bank runs. A week later, they emerged with their plans to create what is known as the Federal Reserve System. Because the current President Taft would never agree to sign away the American monetary system to a cabal of international bankers, they waited until they got their man, the progressive Woodrow Wilson, into power. In return for the bankers' generous campaign contributions, Woodrow Wilson reluctantly promised the bankers he would sign the Federal Reserve Act if he was elected into office. Many powerful forces were opposed to the creation of a privately controlled central bank. To neutralize this threat, J.P. Morgan invited the major opponents of the Federal Reserve Act on board the maiden voyage of the newly built Titanic luxury steamliner.
Oh yeah, I forgot he believes in the Titanic Fed conspiracies.
Built by the White Star Line, owned by J.P. Morgan.
Progressive Woodrow Wilson.
J.P. Morgan ordered the captain to steer his ship into an iceberg, and under gunpoint prevented the men from escaping onto the lifeboats, killing many of his enemies in one large swoop. When word of this got back to Woodrow Wilson, he commented, "There exists this power in the world, so subtle, so organized, so watchful, that we dare not speak above a whisper when we speak in condemnation of it." At the beginning of 1913, the United States had defaulted on its debt. After being denied
No, it didn't. What?
by the credit.
Where is he getting these ideas?
Woodrow Wilson faced a constitutional crisis. With no other sources of funding, he went along with the bankers' schemes engineered at the Jekyll Island resort. To avoid any opposition, Senator Nelson Aldrich quickly pushed the Federal Reserve Act through both houses of Congress. On December 23, 1913, while most of Congress was away on Christmas vacation, a quorum call was issued. A few selected congressional traitors voted by voice to avoid public record and pass the Federal Reserve Act, which President Wilson signed into law. Wilson later admitted with remorse when referring to the Fed, "I have unwittingly ruined my country." This
was in It Came from Jekyll Island, I figured from the name.
Gave away the keys of the printing presses at the U.S. Treasury to a foreign corporation chartered under the Crown of England, known as the Federal Reserve Bank.
The Federal Reserve was
The Federal Reserve is not controlled by England?
created by Congress in 1913, and it was entrusted with the power granted originally to the Congress by the U.S. Constitution to coin money and regulate the value thereof.
The Federal Reserve Bank advertises itself as a non-profit corporation that operates as if it's another branch of the government. However,
it's in a weird spot. The Fed is weird in that it's kind of like a joint venture between the federal government and like banks and private interest. The government, it appoints people to like sit on the board and be the chair and stuff, but like it is its own entity. It's kind of a weird thing.
Its board members are unelected, and their meetings are conducted behind the
Right, they're unelected, but they're picked by officials that are elected. So,
closed doors, away from public scrutiny.
The board of directors of the Federal Reserve System is chosen by the president from a list prepared by the bankers themselves.
It's important that whomever I pick is viewed as an independent person from politics.
All this secrecy becomes very suspicious, considering how the Federal Reserve monitors and controls trillions of dollars within the world's banking system. After the federal government lost its ability to issue its own money, the national debt soon soared to astronomical heights, because now the government had to pay the Federal Reserve interest on all its currency printed to circulation. But this interest on the national debt could never be repaid, as the Federal Reserve required all debts to be repaid with gold, which the government did not have. And
you think the government of the United States doesn't have gold? We do. We have a lot of gold. What?
Even worse, the interest portion of the national debt was not issued into the money supply.
What's the currency chief Motto wants? It's his own currency. I don't remember if it's like a crypto thing or just some digital thing he made up, but he calls it, quote, wampum.
Words.
Like my Star Trek shirt? Thank you. It's actually a full costume. I wear costumes every day for stream. This is Science Officer. Dilda Spiller says the Bland Corporation has just published a new paper on how much this guy sucks in particular.
More and more debt would have to be issued to continue servicing the growing interest payments on all loans. In order to cover this interest payment, Congress was forced to pass the income tax legislation, which became law in 1913 with the ratification of the 16th Amendment, also known as the Income Tax Amendment. Initially, they levied a 1% voluntary tax on all incomes over $3,000 and a progressive surtax on all incomes over $20,000, but this would soon increase with the outbreak of World War I and World War II. Income tax allowed the Federal Reserve System to confiscate the earnings of the common man, but the industrialists and financiers were exempted from paying any income tax because they could afford to hide their assets in tax-free foundations which they claimed were devoted to philanthropy. Examples of such include the Rockefeller Foundation, the Mellon Foundation, and the Carnegie Endowment.
I mean, the idea is that they want people to use their money in order to help people through nonprofits. It's an incentive. Okay, you don't want to pay your taxes? Okay, you better start spending some of that money on things to benefit people other than yourself. That's kind of the idea.
The main purpose of the income tax is not to raise revenue, but to redistribute wealth and to control society.
Technically, the 16th Amendment was not ratified by the necessary states, as it violates
that's not true.
The constitutional clause of no direct taxes. Despite this, Congress went...
It's a constitutional amendment. It can't be unconstitutional. You literally said it's the 16th Amendment. It's an amendment.
ahead and tax the people anyway. The government was able to do this because under their corporate charter, Congress was operating as the board of directors, and therefore they had the authority to enter this amendment as ratified. But remember, this amendment has nothing to do with the original United States Constitution, which was
It doesn't matter!
replaced back in 1871 with the corporate constitution.
It's actually very simple. Congress tried to enact an income tax in 1894. The Supreme Court said that's unconstitutional. When the Supreme Court says something is unconstitutional, it's unconstitutional.
Right, and then they changed the Constitution. You can do that. Do people think the Constitution is like words handed on high from God? And like, you can't... No, there's literally provisions in the Constitution for amendments. That's the point.
They tried again in 1913, and the Supreme Court said the 16th Amendment conferred no new power of taxation. So...
That wouldn't make sense, because yes, it would. Because it's the Constitution. Amendments, once they're ratified, are the Constitution, and all law has to be interpreted through the lens of the Constitution that exists now with all amendments. Period.
If they didn't have it then, and they didn't get it, they don't have it.
Okay, they do, though. They do? They do.
There is no constitutional basis for a tax on the wages of Americans living and working in the 50 states of the Union.
The 16th Amendment.
Period. End of argument.
In 1933, the United States once again declared bankruptcy. To make all citizens...
No!
and subject to repayment of the national debt, the bankers chartered a Delaware corporation known as the Bureau of Internal Revenue. But this corporation was illegally masquerading as part of the government, placing them under...
It's not illegally masquerading. There's such a thing as federal corporations. The FDIC is one. I think there's Federal Farm Insurance Bureau or something that's also a federal corporation. There's a lot of federal corporations. They're still part of the government.
Constant threat of lawsuit. To escape this litigation, they moved their jurisdiction outside of the United States to Puerto Rico. This occurred in 1953 when they changed their name to the Internal Revenue Service, or IRS, incorporated as a Puerto Rican trust within the division of the Department of the Treasury of the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico. Further proof can be found within the United States Code, which lists the IRS as Trust Fund Number 62, the Puerto Rico Special Fund Internal Revenue. This was done to divert all income tax payments to the International Monetary Fund, owned by the various central banks of Europe and North America.
Fuck off, dude.
Which in turn are owned by the Crown of England.
There is a substantial, conclusive body of evidence that proves that our income tax system represents the most pernicious form of tyranny. It is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated by government against the working men and women of America.
I can eliminate all income taxes tomorrow and have more than enough money to fund the government by using some other guy's bright idea. We tax the Federal Reserve at 0.0006.
Swordplay, thanks for following.
Doubles our money until we decide to put them out of business permanently, because we certainly should not have central banks.
The evidence proving income tax is paid to the United Kingdom is found deep within the IRS individual master file, which contains every transaction and financial record gathered by IRS officials throughout your lifetime. One of these codes determines what kind of tax you are paying. After looking this code up within the IRS 6209 manual, you find that they
well, a lot of them were deists, Swordplay. Many were Christians, many were deists. None were what we would describe today as atheist, I wouldn't say. But Thomas Jefferson, for instance, took out parts of the Bible where Jesus does miracles, so...
have incorrectly classified all Americans as domiciled corporations in either Guam, the Virgin Islands, or Puerto Rico. Furthermore, all taxpayers who filled out a 1040 form are subject to a tax for doing commerce with the United Kingdom under a treaty with the United States.
There is no law that requires the average American worker in the private sector to pay a direct unapportioned tax on their labor and compensation for services. There is no law.
As you follow the money trail, you find that the taxes collected on the 1040 form is then sent to the Crown of England as a tribute payment. The Crown of England is a sovereign corporation located within the 677 acres of the city, found within the heart of Greater London. This tiny strip of land contains the world's most powerful banking houses, such as the Bank of England and Lloyd's of London, owned by the House of Rothschild. It is these bankers and their counterpart, the Temple Bar attorneys, that constitute the power base known simply as the Crown. Even though the Queen of England is a member of this club, she is not its corporate head. That job was given to the Pontiff of Rome. The Pope was given control over the monarchy with the signing of the Treaty of 1213 between...
Do you think that the Treaty of 1215 is still applicable? The Treaty of 1215.
King John and Pope Innocent III, which forever pledged England as a vassal.
We have, like, on the bingo card for conspiracy stuff, cite something from the, 19th century. He's straight up citing stuff from 800 years ago.
State of the Holy Roman Empire. In 1297, that treaty was used as a precedent to incorporate the city as an independent city-state controlled by the Vatican, which would govern England without directly relying on the monarchy. Just like how the Corporation of the United States was subject to the Crown of England, so too were the subjects of the British Empire, enslaved with debt by the financial division of the Vatican, headquartered within the City of London. Today, this small clique of bankers have full authority over the affairs of Parliament, and this has been the case since 1694, when Pope Innocent XI hired William of Orange to depose the Stuart kings and charter the Bank of England.
Nothing's happened in England since the 1600s, by the way.
Located within the Crown of England is the original Federal Reserve Charter, which according to the Farmer Claims legal team, allocates that 67% of the income tax collected by the IRS was to be divided to the Crown of England. Another 23%
Damn, if only we'd fought a war about this or something!
To be paid as a dividend to the 300 shareholders of the Federal Reserve Bank, and the last 10% was to be paid to the employees of the IRS to keep them quiet about this sweet deal.
Alright, guess I'm gonna get a job at the IRS. I will take that sweet, sweet conspiracy payoff money.
Since 1913, none of the income tax collected by the IRS has gone to the federal government. The federal government is funded totally through black budget sources, such as drug trafficking and off-budget accounting on the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report.
What? All the government's funding comes through drug dealing. It's great. What a great theory. The government doesn't use taxes. They sell all the drugs. That's pretty good. That was pretty good. All right. So I think that's going to be it for today, at least for the regular stream. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate hanging out with you guys a lot. Let's see what's going on Twitch. We'll do a raid, and then I'm going to take about 10 minutes, change into regular clothes, and then we'll do the Patreon and YouTube member stream. Keep an eye out for the link for that on your Patreon feeds or your YouTube community tabs. If anyone's a new member on YouTube, I know we got some gift memberships this month. Excuse me. You'll go into your YouTube community tab or my page and then my YouTube community tab, and I'll have a community post that has a link to the member-only show. You'll only be able to see that post if you are a member, of course. That's how, gatekeep it. Twitch viewers never get normal clothes, Hannah. Yeah, because you guys want costumes. There's only like 100 costume days left, though, so... And I don't necessarily intend on doing another goal for costumes. I might get to wear normal clothes in like 5 months, 6 months. That'd be nice. Anyway. Alright. Oh, Caspel's doing Half-Life 2. Fun. Oh, near the end. Oh! Is that Duel of the Fates? Alright. Alright, have a great night. I will be back tomorrow in the afternoon. Like I said, I have an engagement in the evening tomorrow. But I will be streaming tomorrow, so I hope to see you then. See the rest of you soon for the Patreon and YouTube member show. Have a great night, everyone.